We find ourselves now entering into the fourth chapter of the book of Genesis and the story of Cain and Abel. It's not a fun story. We don't dwell on it too much because, quite honestly, it's not much fun. It's a difficult story that doesn't have a happy ending, but it's important for us nonetheless. And as we read in church yesterday from the New International Version, the NIV, the first verse and a half, so Genesis chapter 4, verses 1 and 2a, it reads like this: Adam made love to his wife Eve, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. She said, "With the help of the Lord, I have brought forth a man." Later, she gave birth to his brother Abel. Now, I'll be honest with you and say the New International Version, while I really like that Bible, it's not my favorite here. Adam made love to his wife Eve. Okay, we all get what's going on. I guess to me, that's better than the Good News Bible, which says Adam had intercourse with Eve. And intercourse in that case is not the little town in Lancaster County. The New Living Translation says that Adam had sexual relations with Eve. Quite honestly, I would prefer, I'm not much of a King James guy, but I would prefer the King James, which says that Adam knew Eve. I think that says everything we need to know about this. The NRSV, which we often read at church, says that the man knew his wife, so drawing on the King James. And then there's the Common English Bible. Again, I'm not a big proponent of it, but I probably like that translation best, for it says that Adam knew his wife intimately. I'm good with that. I think we all know what's happening here, but I like that Adam knew his wife intimately. And to have marital relations is to do just that, to know one another intimately. So we know what's going on. Adam and Eve have rebelled. They have rebelled against God and against all the rules that God has laid out for them. And it leads to their banishment from the Garden of Eden. And immediately we learn that Adam and Eve become intimate with one another. Eve conceives out of this, and they name their children Cain and Abel. Now, if you're OCD like me, maybe just a little bit, you would think, why didn't they name them Abel and Cain? Go in alphabetical order. But they did, so let's not argue about it. It's important, though, that we consider it because the word for Cain in Hebrew sounds an awful lot like the Hebrew words for brought forth or acquired. And again, if I can go back to the Common English Bible, Eve says, "I have given life to a man with the Lord's help." Again, this word for in Hebrew that sounds like, or the word that is Cain, sounds an awful lot like another Hebrew word, created. And it's important because here we have Eve giving birth. Now, it's right after the rebellion, and it's almost as if she's out of the garden now, and she's going to do whatever she wants. They, Adam and Eve together, do whatever they want, and they have a child, and immediately they say, she says, "I have given life to a man with the Lord's help." It's almost as if to say, I'll show you, God, I can create life just like you. And now God does get a little shout out here. I have given life, Eve says, with the Lord's help. With the Lord's help. Okay, we're going to give the Lord a little bit of credit, but I have created. And yet you and I know that we are not, I hope we know, you and I are not the creators. Regardless of what science may bring forth, and I am a science guy, we cannot create life from nothing. God is the creator. So we have Eve and Adam become intimate with one another. She conceives, she bears a son, she names that son a word, a name that sounds an awful lot like created, as if to say in her arrogance, I have created this life. And then she has a second son, and she names him what? Abel. She names him Abel, and Abel sounds a lot like the Hebrew word for breath. And not just breath as in, but breath as in, as if a puff of air, a puff of breath, as if short-lived and insignificant, which of course betrays what's going to happen in this story. Well, I won't get ahead of myself there, but I do want you to know that the names are significant. The names are chosen for a very significant purpose, and we don't want to lose sight of the fact that even in their punishment or banishment from the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve still possess an arrogance about them. It begins to lay the story of the struggle of humanity. We are a rebellious people who can be arrogant even in the face of God. Friends, I pray that as you meditate on this very short passage today from Genesis chapter 4, verses 1 and 2, I pray that you might ask God if there's a place in your life where perhaps you are being arrogant, where you need to have your heart softened, or where you need to be open to God's will and God's way. It's a great idea. It's a great question to ask, especially at this early time in this year of our Lord 2021. But for now, may the peace of God be with you, and may God be with us until we meet again.